3041. As to my own abilities, said I, the rules of decency forbid me to speak of them, but your character of Servius is a very just one, and I may freely tell you what I think of him. There are few, I believe, who have applied themselves more assiduously to the art of speaking than he did, or indeed to the study of every useful science. In our youth, we both, right, we both of us followed the same liberal exercises, and he afterward accompanied me to Rhodes to pursue those studies which might equally improve him as a man and a scholar. But when he returned from thence, he appears to me to have been rather ambitious of being the foremost man in a secondary profession than the second in that which claims the highest dignity. I will not pretend to say that he could not have ranked himself among the first in the latter profession, but he rather chose to be what he actually made himself, the first lawyer of his time. Damn. Indeed, said Brutus, and do you really prefer Servius to Quintus Scaevola? My opinion, said I, Brutus, is that Quintus Scaevola and many others had a thorough practical knowledge of the law, but that Servius alone understood it as a science which he could never have done by the mere study of the law and without a previous acquaintance with the art which teaches us to divide a whole into its subordinate parts, to explain an intermediate idea by an accurate definition, to illustrate what is obscure by a clear interpretation, and first to discover what things are of a doubtful nature, then to distinguish them by the different degrees of probability, and lastly to be provided with a certain rule or measure by which we may judge what is true and what false, and what inferences fairly may or may not be deduced from any given premises. This important art he applied to those subjects which, for want of it, were necessarily managed by others without due order and precision. Excuse me. 42. You mean, I suppose, said Brutus, the art of logic. You suppose very rightly, answered I, but he added to it an extensive acquaintance with polite literature and an elegant manner of expressing himself, as is sufficiently evident from the incomparable writings he has left behind him. And he attached himself for the improvement of his eloquence to Lucius Balbus, and Caius Aquilius Gallus, two very able speakers. He effectually thwarted the prompt celerity of the latter. Though a keen, experienced man, both in supporting and refuting a charge, by his accuracy and precision, and overpowered the deliberate formality of Balbus, a man of great learning and erudition, by his adroit and dexterous method of arguing, so that they equally possessed the good qualities of both without their defects. As Crassus, therefore, in my mind, acted more prudently than Scaevola, for the latter was very fond of pleading causes in which he was certainly inferior to Crassus, whereas the former never engaged himself in an unequal competition with Scaevola by assuming the character of a civilian. So Servius pursued a plan which sufficiently discovered his wisdom, for as the profession of a pleader and a lawyer are both of them held in great esteem, and give those who are masters of them the most extensive influence among their fellow citizens, he acquired an undisputed superiority in the one, and improved himself as much in the other as was necessary to support the authority of the civil law and promote him to the dignity of consul. This is precisely the opinion I had formed of him, said Brutus, for a few years ago I heard him often and very attentively at Samos, when I wanted to be instructed by him in the pontifical law, as far as it is connected with the civil, and I am now greatly confirmed in my opinion of him by finding that it coincides so exactly with yours. I am likewise with a little, oh wait, I am likewise not a little pleased to observe that the equality of your ages, your sharing the same honors, and preferments and the affinity of your respective studies and professions has been so far from precipitating either of you into that envious detraction of the other's merit, which most people are tormented with, that instead of interrupting your mutual friendship, it has only served to increase and strengthen it. For, to my knowledge, he had the same affection for and the same favorable sentiments of you, which I now discover in you toward him. I cannot therefore help regretting very sincerely that the Roman state has so long been deprived of the benefit of his advice and of your eloquence, a circumstance which is indeed calamitous enough in itself, but must appear much more so to him who considers into what hands that once respectable authority has been of late, I will not say transferred, but forcibly wrested. You certainly forget, said Atticus, that I proposed when we began the conversation, to drop all matters of state by all means. Therefore, let us keep to our plan, for if we once begin to repeat our grievances, there will be no end. I need not say to our inquiries, but to our sighs and lamentations. All right.